During the ethnographic exploration of this community, I have shown you a raced, gendered and classed view of the childcare identity. During this presentation, I will be focusing on gender and race identity, as I believe that the class is not perceived to be an important identity within this setting. I will be discussing ways to provoke understanding on how belonging and difference focus within the childcare setting and in regards to gender and race. It is important for all of us to be aware of how our community is perceived and how we can promote the feeling of belonging and accept differences to help us promote belonging and acceptance of difference. I will be promoting some activities to help us develop an opening for understanding. Difference can be expressed as difference of characteristics or the degree in which something differs from another. Valuing differences. Why should we value differences? Potential rewards of valuing differences include increased creativity, productivity, and profitably encourage public relations, improved product and service quality, and higher job satisfaction. Allen, 2004. What does this mean? It means that we recognise and accept difference. We live a happier existence within the setting. How do we value race? Within our community, we have several different racial backgrounds: Indian, Irish, Japanese, and Australian. How do we value each of our backgrounds and create a feeling of belonging and acceptance? Every day I notice a sense of camaraderie amongst fellow employees, and when one is struggling, we all try to lighten the load. I have overheard conversations where someone is having trouble representing a culturality and asked for help from members of that culture. Each of us are aware of the cultural reasons why some cannot eat this, do that, celebrate something, and we value those beliefs even when it is difficult to understand. Acknowledging these differences and accepting them is connected to the feeling of belonging. With 95% of childcare industry being women, how do we introduce acceptance for males working with children? Is having men in childcare seen as taboo and frowned upon due to the media's constant reporting on kidnappings and pedophiles being of male descent? If this was an accurate stereotype, how do we view fathers and men workers that come into contact with children? This stigmatizes males in their workplace who would like to give children a strong male role-modelled influence from males that have the same drive as women to help improve the children's quality of care. Scouts SA Chief Executive Officer Dan Ryan stated, "We enforce the importance of male leaders in our organisation. We think they're important as they are both very important to the social development and well-being of young people." Stokes, 2015. This leads me to wonder, why do we not enforce the importance of males in the childcare sector? How do we make males feel accepted into childcare? Belonging is shared emotional attachment with the setting or group community. Having different culture backgrounds gives members of the community the ability to learn about different worldviews, learning languages and cultural activities, gives families that struggle with the English language a feeling of connectedness and belonging, and helps us to give authentic activities and programs. To achieve a greater sense of belonging, we need to continue to appreciate and accept differences and continue to the feeling of togetherness. This can be done through acknowledging holidays, celebrations, having cultural displays in the rooms, and continuing to recognise beliefs and values. With regard to gender, we need to change our mind frames and those of the outer community to understand that not all men are predators and males go through the same training and police checks that women go through. We need to discuss with families and address the individual issues on individual basis. We need more strong male influence for children and families that do not have that person in their lives to help them to gain confidence. I have 2 resumes for each of you to review on the screen. I would like you to tell me, in your view, which person you would hire. Now, which resume do you think is more suitable for the position? Does your view change if I told you that one with more qualifications is a male? And why? I believe the above activity will address the issues of gender, how we perceive information, the focus on positive information, and if our view changes when more information is introduced. In this case, being that of an addition of being male changes how we originally reacted to the case. We need to recognise that being of a different gender does not equate to being a bad thing. We need to recognise it, accept it, appreciate this as being different, and challenge ourselves to help males to feel a sense of belonging to the community. This activity is set up to challenge your way of thinking and how we perceive difference. I want everyone to come up with 3 positive characteristics of the person to your left. What did you come up with? Were any of your answers related to race? Being of different skin colour or nationality does not change the temperaments of who we are as people. Now I want you to pick 3 nationalities, writing something positive about each. Did anyone pick Australian? Is Australia not raced? This activity helps us to identify that although we are different from one another, we still should be treating each other fairly and with respect. It is important to notice and accept differences, but also accept what is the same. This also points out that quite commonly we forget that being Australian is also a race. In order to be able to teach about difference and belonging, we first need to understand what this means and how it functions in a workplace. We need to remember that change comes from within. People need to understand what you are talking about without being made to feel stupid or ignorant. When teaching, you need to understand the difference between teaching and preaching. Making your listeners feel welcome and able to ask questions and give answers helps to gain the listener's confidence and in turn value your input. What I would like everyone to walk away from today is the understanding that within this centre we are all different and there is nothing wrong with that. We need to value those differences and work together to strive towards being a welcoming community. Thank you.